Right, so I haven't done one of these in a while, actually. So the last person I did one of these with was Steve for pest control,
Oh, nice.
for rapid response, and that was probably like a month and a half ago.
All right.
So you're the first one, and I got to get a whole bunch of new members in because we've gone through such a growth spurt. But today, Corbin Warrick, I don't ever remember the name of your brand because I just kind of refer to you as like a badass chick helping other badass people overcome their goals. So explain a little bit of what you do, how we met, and what led you to this.
So business is called Optimal Life Today.
There you go.
Yes. Health and wellness is the big picture here. And I got involved because it started with myself 5 years ago, struggling with food addiction and having uncontrollable eating habits and really reacting on my emotions. And so for 2 decades, it was an ongoing roller coaster for myself. And I knew I needed some sort of structure in my life, guidance. I knew my kids deserved a better mom. And I had found this program down back in the Keys where I was living and just started seeing all these other lives being transformed. And I was like, okay, I need this. Like, I don't care what it is at this point. So I got on board, and I really just thought I was doing another diet program. But little did I know it was everything that I was praying for and longing for and needing. And within 2 weeks, I knew it was something different. And what really separated this program from all the other programs that I've done is I started working within the mindset. And yes, I was down 12 pounds in just 2 weeks, but I started feeling so much better from the inside out. And my clarity came back. I was living in such a state of fogged mind. And, I suffered from anxiety and depression for so long.
Sure.
And when I started feeding the gut better, everything started changing, because what you feed the gut affects the brain. So it's like, all right, like I can do this. I have a lot of hope here that this is everything that I needed. Well, when that had happened within that first month, I started having people ask me questions like, what are you doing? I want to know more. Like, you glow differently, your energy is out there, and you just look like you're so much happier. So I got offered to be a part of the company with Johns Hopkins University, and I started helping my family and friends along the way in my journey. And with doing that, helped me really accomplish the 110-pound weight loss that I had, and helped me improve, transforming that mindset by implementing one healthy habit at a time, utilizing our educational system. So, I'm here 5 years later, still able to contend for my health because of the community and the people around me, and leading others is helping me lead my health long term.
Yeah. And that was going to be a question I had, because we've obviously talked about it privately, getting to know each other and how we can help each other's businesses. But 2 questions I had that stood out in there were, one, and you kind of touched on that with your closing statement, is how much of a beneficial and advantageous position did it put you in to quickly turn over and be helping and teaching people? Do you think that kept you on track even more so with what you were doing?
Absolutely, because, when you publicly put yourself out there, it holds you accountable to yourself. And I had learned from previous things that I've done that nobody knew what I was doing, so it was so easy for me to just, quit or give up when life got hard. But even though life is always going to be hard and throw wrenches at us, I was able to still stay on the right path because I had all these people around me. And it was a lot of accountability and support.
Right. Yeah, because obviously you're putting that idea out there. This is what I do. So when people don't see you doing that, all of a sudden they're like, can I trust this person? Do they really know what they're talking about? Things like that. It resonates with the energy and with everything else you mentioned. Secondly, because you and I have shared this privately, but I've been through similar journeys with weight loss and things like that. What's some advice that you got early on that has always stuck with you that is one of the first key things you tell some of your clients?
Well, it starts with helping them within the mindset. And I can't express it enough to everyone that life is always going to be hard. Life is always going to throw things at us that like we don't have control over. So the first thing that I start teaching individuals is how to stop, challenge, and choose. And that's where that becomes the work in progress of learning how to gain control over your emotions. So, you know, when I let them know those things, I let them know, like, this is a journey. There's no end sight. So no matter what does happen, you're gonna, as long as you fail forward and you don't fail, because there's obviously two differences there, you will be able to achieve whatever you want when you just keep putting one foot in front of another and having that community around you helping you.
Yeah, I find it, I mean, obviously you work in that area of a support system. I'm guessing that you mentioned it a little bit, your support system through your journey was probably pretty strong, and you could kind of learn something to put back out there, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, it's being able to duplicate and keeping it red tie red for what I was taught is how, you know, I'm teaching my individuals one-on-one.
Yeah, success leaves clues.
It does. And being full, transparent, and vulnerable from the very beginning, and letting my clients know, like, there are imperfections in my world too, even as your coach. Like, and when I can relate those things and share those stories, it makes them feel like, okay, no matter what, like, you don't have to be this perfect person to be successful in anything you do in life.
In teaching the new agents and in teaching people, talking about BNI all the time, now that I've launched a chapter and now I have people coming to me that are launching chapters like, oh, how did you do it? How did you do this? How did you do that? And that word of vulnerability stands out a lot, because not a lot of people are willing to do that. You know, they're just like, you got to do it this way, this way, this way. And they put on this front of like, this is the way I did it, this is the way it has to be. Instead of, obviously, any real successful person will tell you, you know, like when they sit around at a dinner table in their 50s and 60s in a mansion, they're not talking about how successful they are. They're talking about more than likely how many times they failed.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I tell that to everyone, all the new agents. I'm just like, don't put too much pressure on yourself, because I'm guilty of that in everything I do. Like, just take it easy. You're not supposed to get there instantly. Like, slow success helps you become humble. Fast success builds ego. That's all it does.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It is so true. And it just, you know, I've realized we are humans and life is just going to be what it is. And when you can just be very open and upfront, it already opens up doors, and it already builds that trust within that person that you're helping, no matter what we're doing in life.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned this to you before. That's probably the biggest compliment I get in my field. It's not like, oh, you did a good job. It's just that complete admittance of which I've worked with someone long enough, and they're just like, I want to do what you want because I trust you. Right? It's like, that's the biggest compliment I think anyone could ever give me. It's like, I trust you. Do what you think is best, because you've had to have shown so much in that short amount of time to get those words out of someone. But let's switch gears a little bit to BNI. How were you introduced to it, and how has it helped you so far? What have you learned from it?
So it started with I needing auto renewal, and I put a post out on Facebook, and we all know social media goes a long way. And someone had tagged Tony Busby and my post, and I don't know I had probably 50 different people comment, and something drew me to reach out to him. And little did I know, you know, he's, you know, he is commercial. He's commercial, right?
Yeah, but PNC, property and casualty. He does everything, but in the group, that's what he does.
Right. Okay. So, you know, I messaged him, and we got on the phone, and from the minute that we got on the phone, we just knocked it off. The energy was there. It felt great. So I trusted him. He actually saved me money. And then he was like, well, Corbin, what do you do? Because I see that you're living out loud on social media, and you help a lot of people and stuff. So he was like, well, come to the BNI. We actually need a health coach. And
100%. We definitely do. Yeah, we did.
Yes. And I was like, oh my gosh, Tony, like, I've always wanted to be in a BNI. But I never really had the connections.
Right.
So that's how I got involved with BNI, and I love it. It's definitely got me out of my comfort zone.
It does that.
Being able to just stand in front of, you know, 30 plus people, and you know, we're all in it together. We're all doing some sort of entrepreneurship So it's already opened different doors for me, and being able to know, as being an entrepreneur myself, like I can't shut down any opportunity. When there's a door open, I'm just going to go into it,
You have
whether
to, yeah.
it's scary or not. 9 times out of 10 it is. So I feel like I'm missing a question you had asked.
No, I was asking how you got started and how is it, what has it taught you so far and things like that. And you had mentioned it's gotten you way far out of your comfort zone, which it does. A lot of people are intimidated in the room when they first step into it. So when I see those first couple weeks of people, that's probably been my favorite part, is watching the growth in other people.
Yeah.
Like when Austin first came on board, like, you know, Eddie and Austin knocked on the door to the office and we're coming in just the old school way of knocking on doors and handing out flyers. And I'm like, I have an opportunity for you. Don't know if it's going to match what you want, but just come to a meeting and find out. And both of them are doing fantastic. Well wishes to Eddie with his injury. But both of them are doing fantastic. Austin's been able to go full time. Eddie's gotten, you know, he does a lot of stuff with the Osceola Magic right now. I'm sure it's only a matter of time before he'll get in with the Orlando Magic with that gig. Like watching the growth of, like you mentioned, standing up for 60 seconds at first is terrible. And everyone looks at me like, you're a natural. I'm like, no, I was in your position once too. I just made it my own. Like I just decided I have to have fun with this, or I'm always going to be nervous.
Well, and you have to look at it too as an opportunity, right? And as you hear your voice and you speak in front of individuals, it does become easier. And then, you know, when you stand up in front of hundreds, it's going to be scary, but like it's that ripple. Like the more you hear your voice, the practice makes, I wouldn't say perfect, but it does help you grow.
Yeah, it definitely does. What else, how are your relationships within the room so far? I'm hoping everyone's been very welcoming.
Yes.
But how has that been? What other connections have you made thus far?
So I probably have easily connected with 10 to 12 individuals there, and everyone has definitely made me feel that this is a place that is humbling and it's very energetic. We're all like-minded individuals, and I've come across a lot of entrepreneurs that were, you know, kind of stuck up or weren't very arm welcoming, and I do not get that. I mean, that was one of the first things I shared when I stood up in front of you guys as a visitor, that I love the energy and I love how humble everyone, you know, really truly is. And I've already made connections outside of the BNI from BNI members and helping people right now. So
yeah, and I'm very happy that I finally managed to get some of the people in the room out to the other networking events too, because they've picked up so much. And again, they had to push themselves out of their comfort zone to do that. Like I know I did. Like you watch Wanda and I do a lot of networking events together, and Aaron, which is true, he's dubbed her the fairy godmother of networking, which is it's so true, because her and I will go, and I'm naturally fairly introverted, and she's bubbly and loud, so I just let her go do her thing.
You guys balance each other.
Yeah, and then she just brings people back to me, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? You know,
teamwork.
I'm great in my area, because I like me personally, I'm conscious of like I don't like talking unless I know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So I'm fairly quiet most of the time, and she kind of, like you said, it balances that out. And getting out there to doing networking events has been, I didn't think it was going to be a large part of my business, but at this point it's a huge part of my business. And not that it's bringing business in, but it's just about those connections and relationships, which BNI really hones in on, is like you have to have good relationships, because you and I both, we're in the relationship business. We're not in like, yeah, I'm in real estate, but more so I'm in a relationship business.
Yeah, your clients, you know, want to trust their realtor, and so absolutely. I mean, I think if anything, if the worst case scenario, it would get me to grow, just getting out of, you know, behind the computer scene, which is how I really have grown my business the last 5 years. But I already see, you know, clients coming through and people reaching out. You know, just being in the BNI, Tony invited me to another social connection here in St. Cloud, and there was way more people there in a smaller confined room, and I felt confident. I felt good to speak in front of them, and I know that if he would have invited me before me being involved in BNI, there's no way I would have been able to do it. it would have froze.
Well, it's good. I'm glad you're also growing. You've had plenty of clients. Talk to me a little bit about your favorite clients and the growth and transformation you've seen in some of them. Like, how proud are you of them? Give me a few stories of like, hey, shout outs. This is some of the things I did. Obviously, you can't take credit for anything, and I don't think you would. You know, it's all on them.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. You know, what really is the best shout out there, you know, when I'm working with these one-on-ones, yes, the scale can do and say whatever it does, but what's happening from the inside out, you know, I have people that I'll do health evaluations with that are completely crying on the phone because they've lost all the hope in the world, and you know, they're glued to the couch. They don't have the energy to get up to go play with their, you know, grandkids. One lady being Lisa, you know, she called me last March, and I remember it clear as day. I was at a water park, you know, talking to her, and her just sharing that she's almost 400 pounds, and her life has been stolen from her, and she can't even look at herself in the mirror, and she has to provide for her 85-year-old cousin because nobody else can, so it kind of got thrown into her for her to be the primary care provider. And, you know, when I did that health evaluation, I shared my story. You know, I lost 110 pounds. I was able to, you know, get out of the chiropractor office. I was crawling to my kids most days because of the sciatica that I had. And, you know, she was having those similar things go on. Well, she took the leap of faith and trusted everything that I shared with her. And she's down over 100 pounds, you know, less than a year. And she's wearing clothes and, you know, just smiling and laughing and just being herself again, like hearing those small things, right? They're the big picture in the end. Having your whole life being given back to you when you thought it was stolen for the rest of your life. That's probably one that I can really say that touched me big time because of her just opening up of how life was for her for the last, you know, 40 years of her life struggling. And, you know, there's the ones that are diabetics, right? And they're told that they can't ever get off insulin or metformin when here they are on this program. I had one guy call me 7 days later and was like, I don't need to take my insulin anymore whatsoever. And he's been taking his shots for, you know, 30 plus years. So being able to not only just get them to lose the weight, right, but reverse that underlying health disease that they're going through is so rewarding. The grandmas that I help, right, that want nothing more than to be there for their children or their grandchildren and be able to play with them or not have to tell their their daughter or son that they can't watch their kids because they don't have the energy. Well, being on this program, it gives them that energy. It gives them that ability and that mobility to be able to get up and be a part of their grandchildren's life. And I help a lot of people that are going through like menopause. So like my main audience of people is like 40, 50, and 60-year-olds. And, you know, pre-menopause, going through menopause, or even the aftermath, like those people struggle the most. And I don't know what that's like. I'm not there yet, but the whole hormone things, it really does play a big role in people's everyday way of thinking, living, obviously their appearance, and being able to provide them that structural nutritional plan to help them detox and lose that weight. They feel so much better. So, and even like the seniors, I have people in their 70s suffering from major arthritis and constantly in pain every day. And the inflammation is one of the first things that my clients start noticing that's decreasing within their body, because we truly are what we eat. So when we start feeding right, all these things start, you know, getting out of the body. So just hearing these people completely go from darkness to brightness, it's so rewarding knowing that like there is something out there that you don't have to accept complacency in your life. Right.
And I would think that, I don't know if this question is going to make sense, but I mean, for one, you were essentially your first client, right?
Yes.
Like you were your first client, which is kind of great because you had to go through the whole process in order, like we said earlier, to teach it and things like that. But also in that vulnerability, you got to share your dark moments and get through them. And now you can recognize that in someone else. It's just like, you know, hey, I've been there. I know exactly what you're going through. Because I find that most people in that, and I could throw myself into that light, right? When I started in fitness journeys and things, is like, I think the most self-defeating mindset is, oh, no one understands.
Yes.
You know, if you just take the time to explain and then you finally realize that there are people out there that understand, then all of a sudden you can just snap into this other mode of just like, okay, you know, I can trust. And then I can trust that they can get me there. Because there's a great quote, and I think I shared this with you. There's a great quote, and this is essentially the crux of what you do, which is sometimes it takes someone that's not you to take you to a place within yourself that you can't go by yourself. And I love that you do what you do because, you know, for those people that need that beacon of hope, you completely represent that. You know, like I find that very admirable because, you know, me with my childhood health issues and the health issues I'll live through my whole life, like that's some of the most rewarding things to me as well, is like, so I'll share a quick story. I have extended family that took care of me when I was little because I had growth issues because the kidneys didn't work and things like that. And she still works in that field. So she had met a young kid that was probably like 22, just got a kidney transplant. And he was going through a bout of rejection. What you do if you don't take care of the organ, of course. And he was pretty hopeless, you know, like, oh no, what do I do, you know? And she had showed him, she was like, hey, you know, I know it's not going to mean much coming from me, but I literally know someone that's been through everything you're going through, and now look at him now and look what he's doing. And her mother pulled her aside and she was like, thank you so much. Just that story changed his entire outlook.
It brings tears to my eyes because that's what it is, like knowing for people that people need to know that they're not alone in this world.
Right,
like,
100%.
And our voices matter. We have a voice for a reason. And I believe at the end of the day, like we have to use our voice. We go through the trials and the tribulations and all these things. So we can be, you know, that example for the next person, or, you know, just give them that, just be able to have that conversation that it makes it really relatable and they connect to you.
The story behind it, because that's how people connect to each other, is we connect through stories. We're naturally inclined to connect through stories and get to know each other through stories. So talk to me a little bit about how you started, where you are now, and where you want it to go. Like, you don't strike me as the type, obviously with our whole conversation, that's going to become complacent. I know you want to get somewhere. So what are your goals now with what you're doing? Are they BNI connected? Are they personal career connected? Are they personal? Like, where are your goals going forward from here?
Well, I'm still working within my health, and I'm always going to be. So like my next goal, just in just the health aspect, is I want to get back into the gym again and focus more on some strength training to become stronger. Because as we age, you know, we lose our muscle mass naturally. So that is a thing. So my goal, long-term, big picture there, I would love to do like a bikini contest.
Okay.
Goal. So like in that health area. As far as personal, you know, I'm always working on personal development every single morning. It's the first thing that I do the minute I wake up. And just learning to become just a better leader. I know there's always room for improvement, right?
Right.
I want to just have more under my belt to help other people become, you know, whoever they want to be in their life. Not only do I help people with weight loss and stuff, but I help them be able to do what I do personally, helping other people. So just having a lot more leadership and within me, you know, is important, so I can keep growing and helping others. And your other question, it was the person.
Just going off, well, also where you started versus where you are now. Like, obviously, I know just by talking to you, and we're like-minded in that sense, is like, I knew as soon as I had my first conversation with you how growth-minded you were. Right. Because I can recognize it. You know, like, I've done like the 6 basic human needs test, and like growth is off the chart. Right. And I'm just like, okay, I guess that's where I'm at this point in my life. But yeah, just goals and goal-oriented, you know, where are you going from here personally and professionally and things like that?
Well, I mean, even just 5 years ago, right, starting this, definitely night and day type of person. I had to focus on myself solely, like at the beginning, until I really saw that, okay, like I can do both. I can help myself, but also help others. And, you know, my first year of helping individuals, I mean, I had over like 100 clients that I was working one-on-one with, and there wasn't a lot of leadership involved in my life because I wasn't there yet. I'd just stepped into the entrepreneur world. And so year 2, you know, I started developing more of a team and helping other people do what I do. And then what really shifted in me was I was invited to go see John Maxwell at a conference. And, you know, he had mentioned readers are leaders. And that stuck with me. And I will tell you, prior to that a conference that I was at, I maybe read one book in my life. So
that's crazy. Yeah, I'm sure it's way beyond that now.
It is. It so is. So, you know, I will say just in that area, I read a new book every 2 weeks to a month, depending on how quick it takes me to get through it. So I've definitely grown a lot in the personal development, you know, mindset, and it's helped me just become a better person as a mama, you know, as a friend, as a team leader and stuff. And it's true. Readers are leaders, and there's so much growth, and you get so educated out of it. So, you know, just where I'm at today, I want to be able to reach more people, right? That's the goal, being able to help transform more people, one healthy life at a time. And I want to be able to touch this community here in St. Cloud. Yeah. That's the one of the big reasons why I stepped into BNI, because then I could build relationships with all the other people that are in BNI here in the town. And, you know, it's all about the trust. So when you're being referred from someone else, like they trust that person already, so they're going to go ahead and, you know, 9 times out of 10 know that it's okay to reach out to that person to help them. So I'm just really wanting more for myself, right? Sure. Being able to show up and help other people helps me become a better person, and helping other people get what they want in their life. So I just want to keep expanding. I have no limit. I just want to keep going.
Yeah, I'll touch on something BNI related before we'll cut again, and then I'll do some rapid fire questions, a lot of local stuff that I like to ask everybody. Okay. But to that point is the goals, right? Like for BNI is, overall my goal within the first 2 years is to hit 50 members. Okay. Like we hit 50 members, everybody's business triples. It's a statistic that holds true in BNI. So once everybody's business triples, we can really focus on, you know, people will be there from start to finish. So hopefully we'll still keep the camaraderie. But at that point, we've kind of become what they would refer to as a blueprint chapter, especially if we can get there faster than any other chapter has. So when we talk about St. Cloud, overall, that was my goal, is I want to get so involved in this community that I'm basically helping the overall infrastructure and underbelly of St. Cloud business. And Tony's a great connection for that. I'm so thankful he came to the room and he stays in the room. And you know, him and I have a great relationship, and I really respect him, and I know that it's mutual, which is great, because we talk about where we were 5 years ago. Like the amount of respect I get from my peers, I never would have thought that I would be in that position, right? And that means a lot to me. So long term, I would love to be at 50 members, move from the church to the Marina building, and just have that as the epicenter of St. Cloud's local business infrastructure, essentially. You know, everyone knows someone in the room. We have 50 members. There's no way we don't have an outreach to everything going on at St. Cloud. Yeah. And to that point of networking and knowing people, especially within this community, is, you know, I find it very rewarding that if I'm with a Tony or a Wanda or a Bonnie, you know, someone that's been in business so long, and I walk up with them and they're like, hey, have you met Dalton? He's a great person. He's a great guy. He's a great business, great at all of this. Like, just having that person there to vouch for you that other people trust means so much, because you're already, like, just with that voucher, you're already pretty much put out there. Yeah, validating, exactly. Yeah, I was looking for the word, but you're already validated. So I think it's very rewarding. All those relationships in the room are very rewarding.
And it's who you know, and so it falls right into that. It's who you know. For anything that you want to keep growing and expanding in. You got to know the right people that will get you in those doors, and so
Right.
being connected to them, absolutely.
Things like that. So you mentioned your goals a little bit with the business and things like that. What are some things that might come up that you couldn't see yourself doing, but you've always kind of had an interest in? Like you read all the time, and you have a really good story. Like I could picture you writing a book.
It's funny you say that because it is on one of my to-do lists within
Okay,
5
see.
years for me to write a book. And I really could, not even just in my own weight loss journey, but how I escaped a very scary divorce. And a lot of women, not to get off topic, but they feel like they're stuck and they can't leave.
Sure, yeah.
And granted, it took me some planning and some escaping, but everything that I had to go through and what I was being put through, I know how powerful my voice and story can be to help the next
Right. Yeah, and that's
go through that.
a lot. You know, that story I'm sure will inspire others, or at least obviously you hope so, but it already has. So you know it will. You've already seen those results.
Yeah, because I share it on one-on-one, but
Right.
yes, I do want to write a book. So I would love to. You ask me the question again. I'm sorry.
So you would mention the goals that you already have in mind. What are some things you can maybe picture yourself doing that have kind of just been floating there, like I might be able to see myself do that? It's not really on the forefront, but it's something I want to try. You know,
Being on stage,
Okay.
honestly, it's definitely going to be a huge leap, but
sure.
voices are powerful.
I mean, I
and
could find you an empty stage right around the corner. Like the church has a stage. You just stand up there today.
No, we're not doing that today. I'm just kidding. No, really being on stage and speaking to like thousands of people,
Right.
whether it's motivational talk or, what I've gone through or a story that I can,
Which would be one and the same for sure.
yeah. So that would really be something that I could see myself doing, but yes, it's such a scary leap.
Yeah. I could see you doing both of those things just because you're already in that wheelhouse. Just not like, here's your first step to doing it on video. Next is out loud, right?
Yes.
You know, it's privately in the book, very intimate, thought out conversations and things you've thought about, but then it's very compact into a delivery system because B&I teaches you that a little bit. You only have 60 seconds, but you learn to address an audience, right? You
Yes.
learn to, I think my favorite part thus far about me standing up is, and it's going to sound a little conceited in some way, but I know how like comedians and performers feel. It's like my favorite presentation was the silent one.
Oh my God, it was great.
Because all of a sudden I realized like I have everyone in the palm of my hand.
Yeah.
They're all just waiting for me to say something. And for
And you
me,
got
it
their
was,
attention. That
yeah.
was the whole point.
Yeah. Because it was funny because Wanda nudged me and she's like, there's like 2 or 3 people on their phones and I'm going to address it before you go. And I'm like, no, just wait. Like,
And it
just
naturally
wait.
happened.
Yeah.
Like,
because everyone's so conditioned to hearing someone talk in those
Yeah.
60 seconds. So you break that pattern and people pay attention. So like,
It was gold.
I could picture you doing, on a stage, sharing your story for sure. So local questions, local shout outs. I do this a lot. Like, what are some of your favorite restaurants around town? What are some things you would tell people that are moving into St. Cloud to go check out or go try? What are some things you love around here?
I love the downtown area. It's so historical and, the restaurants loading. That one comes to my mind right away,
good,
especially a good breakfast joint. God, I get lost. Totally just got tongue twisted. Starch coming. You're gonna have to cancel this part.
No, we're rolling with it. Now they get to see you, really.
Oh my God. Okay. No, a good breakfast joint for sure. It doesn't feel like a franchise, right? It's not.
Sure.
It just tastes so good. I would definitely recommend there. Where else? See, and that's where like I feel like I'm a little disconnected. I'm not getting out into like those public areas a lot, but just in the past, I've ate there a lot. as far as like coffee shops, I could definitely recommend John 316.
Yeah, I think we are all on board with John
Yes,
316.
he's
I think the
amazing.
whole room is on board with John
The
316.
minute I walked in there last year, like it got to the point I was in there every single morning. And you know, it's just the energy there. She's a
Great
great
atmosphere,
woman, and her story, like she'll share your story, like how she envisioned and dreamed having a coffee shop, and you know, 15 years later or something like that, it came to fruition, and it was because you know she had this vision and made it happen.
Right.
So, coffee's really good.
Yeah.
Very good.
I'm not even a coffee drinker, but the couple times I've had, it's good.
Yeah,
and we do so many one-to-ones there. Like, I'll walk in, and then she'll be like, "Who you meeting today?" And I'll just name off the B&I list. And
She already
like,
knows.
Okay, yeah.
That's awesome. What was your other question?
Just
shop?
other local spots, things you like to do around here, things like that.
I mean, Wild Florida is a good place to like take your kids for sure. Especially out if you love to be outdoors. It's just a very unique place to go. I would recommend going there. Where else? It's expanding. I feel like I can't keep up with this town.
It is growing, yeah.
There's that, like during the fall in October and November, they have that pumpkin patch out in Kenansville.
Oh, is that because there's Mick Farms right there on Canoe Creek Road, and they do a lot of stuff there.
Okay,
and
I
then
haven't
there's
been
some
there
stuff
yet.
further out there. I haven't gone.
Parton Ranch.
Parton, okay,
Yes,
yeah.
there we go.
Yeah.
Gone there 3 years in a row. Kids love it. I would definitely recommend doing something like that in the fall.
I haven't been out there. I know it goes on, but I haven't been out
Yeah.
there.
No, it's cool. I mean, it's a big open field with so many things for the kids to do, and it's literally a ritual that we do every year.
I think so when I did this in October with Jason from around my town, him and I were talking about a lot of the things and that St. Cloud hosts, and him and I had really concluded that when they put effort into it, like you can see this town like has a lot of heart.
Oh yeah,
Like they
hard
put a
work,
lot
too.
of heart into everything they do event-wise.
Yeah.
You know, just the little things like you mentioned, like the pumpkin patches, and then they do the Trail of Terrors.
Yeah.
And things like that around Halloween, and then we have the big Santa event here at Royal Realty every Christmas. We inflate the 50-foot Santa.
Right.
I think we're going to do it right out here this year. Hopefully, if those trees are cleared, it'll be able to see it from 192.
That'll
will
be
be a
cool.
huge
That'll
deal.
be like the perfect spot. Honestly, it's such a busy. Yeah, you know, in the parades you mentioned, like you know,
those two, yeah.
What do we have? Christmas. We have the St. Patty's one. I feel
Yeah,
like
and
I'm
they keep
missing
adding
one.
to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
St. Patty's Day is new, but they're bringing in so much outside attention to downtown. It's gotten so much traction. They do so much downtown now. You know, the arts festivals, the food festivals. Every month they do the monthly market.
The Easter festival or the Easter egg over by the lakefront. Yeah, I mean, they do care. I can tell the people care about the community and
Right.
bringing the people together, and that says a lot within the town itself. That you know.
I think that's what draws people in. You know, obviously there's still land available, which I think really
There's not
helps.
going to be for long.
No, but there is still for right now. Hey,
Just a little.
You're killing my business here. What are you doing?
Yeah.
She's right. There won't be for long. You might as well start building. Like, get in touch with
Call
someone.
Dalton.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. Exactly.
They say what? Osceola County is the fastest growing county in the
Yeah, and
United
there
States?
was someone else put out a magazine ad that St. Cloud was like the fastest growing town in Florida, if not the country.
Yeah.
Like as for like per capita housing going in and things like that. Talk to your boy Tony about that because he's got to be on board with all that.
He does.
And he's taught me a lot in that regard too. It's just like, yeah, we're growing super fast, and a lot of people want to leave, but like, and that was a big thing for me. You can either invest in it or get out of it, right? Is that's kind of how I look at it. Is like, I'll help you get out of it, but for me, growing up here, like the Albritton last name goes so far deep into Osceola County and St. Cloud. Like for me, I felt like it was my duty to invest in it and have a hand in what's going on and what's going to continue to happen in the town.
Yeah. keep that legacy going.
Yeah.
For sure.
Agreed. Anything else you want to talk about? Anything you want to plug and put out there? I don't know when this will go out, but you'll know because it'll be
Because you'll
there.
see it.
Yeah.
No, I just, I got to thank Dalton. This is first time being on the podcast. And
You're welcome.
Once again, BNI, right? I don't think I'd ever be in front of a podcast or anytime soon if it wasn't for getting my feet in the door with BNI. So just one example here, it will help you grow. So if you're looking to grow or expand your business, get out of the comfort zone, connecting with other entrepreneurs and getting into the BNI is something that I would highly recommend and encourage. So
I couldn't have said that any better. She crushed it. She
Yes.
killed it. Corbin, thank you for sitting down. I appreciate it. And we got a meeting to get to in about an
Yes.
hour. So
Yep.